All right. I'm here with, he's a hammer. Okay. He's a hammer. And we're going to talk about what his whole plan is, all this stuff. And I want to find out, look behind the veil a little bit about how this kid became who he is. And we're talking about him, and he's still in high school, and he's, he's on the radar with all these great programs, and he's committed to one of them. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything. But I'm sitting in the studio with Owen McMullen. My man, what's up?
What's going on?
Welcome to the podcast, dude.
This is awesome.
Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. We were actually sitting outside your high school, which is, it's kind of our thing. We come to the places where people are, where they're training or where they're competing. And we happen to be at your high school today, set out here, and you guys are doing a tournament inside and a little clinic, just, giving back to community a little bit. What's it like going to Bishop McCort?
Yeah. It's kind of like a little college almost, because you got so many high level wrestlers in the room, like Bo, Jax, Melvin, all the above. And it's a place like no other. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got some robotics on you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit what happened, like where you're at in the journey here.
Yeah. So this summer out in Fargo in July, I kind of had a little freak accident in one of my matches. I dislocated my kneecap. I had to have a complete knee reconstruction on my right knee. I had to get a cadaver ligament put in. And the thing that's kind of sucked most about it was I didn't get surgery till 2 months after it happened. So it happened mid-July, and I didn't get it, like my surgery done till late August, because just couldn't get into the doctor's office. And funny thing about it is the doctor who did my knee is the same guy who did Spencer Lee's knee surgery when he was in high school. So it's kind of cool, being committed to Iowa. When I was out on my official visit, I got to talk to Spencer about, some of the things he did to rehab when he was in high school. And he gave me a little bit of, advice, don't rush it. And it was super great talking to him about it, just because, kind of had the same surgeon.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been out since basically spring of last year.
Yeah.
And how has that been? What have you been able to do, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been, really hard on me, having the thing I love most being taken away from me. Definitely sucked, but I think in the long run, it'll make me have a greater appreciation for the sport. Definitely. But basically what I've been doing from this, being out, is been lifting really hard. Been watching a ton of film, whether it's, coming to tournaments like this, watching my teammates, or, college, international. Just been watching a ton and lifting a ton. And yeah, hopefully going to get back on the mat here real soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and when you give so much to something, in this situation, wrestling, when that's taken away from you, how do you deal with that adversity? Because, in wrestling, we're taught about adversity. We endure adversity every day, but that's chosen. This is imposed. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Like, there's people watching that need to know that story a little bit, because they're probably going through something. Maybe not even wrestling, but just life. How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that God put me in this situation for a reason. Maybe it's, like I said, finding that greater appreciation. But, I've been relying a lot on my faith, praying about it and stuff like that. And, I just, whatever you're going through, I would just tell yourself, this is just a part of God's plan, and it happens for a reason.
Yeah, that's good, because sometimes, man, we don't have the answers, right? A lot of times we don't. Like, why, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, and kind of going back, how did you find wrestling, or how did wrestling find you?
Yeah, so I started, regular school program. My dad wrestled a little bit in high school, and I think he, wanted me to get into it because he knew what it would teach me. Yeah. And, started to get pretty good at it and started winning. And that, when you're a little kid and you're winning at something, you want to continue to do that. So I just kept, sticking with it, and, found the Bassett family, and it really took off from there when I found them.
Were you good early?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, before I, started training with the Bassets, I was okay wrestler. Like I was good on the local scene. And then when I started training with them, we started to expand, like, going out of state and started having success at like the state tournament, stuff like that. And then, going to tournament nationwide, winning a lot of tough tournaments when you were younger.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say I was pretty good early, especially after I started training with them.
What makes the Bassets so dynamic? How are they able to create these great wrestlers?
I would just say what Coach Bassett, preaches to us. He's big on mindset training, and like a lot of guys on the wall, they have a really good mind, and we just have a lot of confidence that what we work really hard, and I think that that just shows what this kind of success we're all having across the country. For
sure. What is it that continues to drive you? How do you stay so disciplined?
I would, everything I do, you got to have a filter, and every decision I make, I try to put this in perspective. Like, is it going to help me or hurt me?
Yeah.
Whether it's with your diet, or whether I should do this or whether I shouldn't. I would just say putting it through that filter. That's another thing Coach he's like I said, he's big on mindset. So I would just say putting it through a decision filter of whether it's going to help me or hurt me.
Yeah. And I know some of the adversity you've gone through by obviously your knee situation, but what's the hardest challenge you've faced on the road to success? Has it been the knee?
I would say it's two things. I've dealt with several injuries throughout my career, but also, mindset, believing in myself. And I think lately, before I had my injury, I was really starting to believe in myself. I was starting to have a lot of success, and then it's just an unfortunate thing that happened. But yeah, I would say injuries, and I'm finally, I think, starting to believe in myself, and
yeah, that's good. And how is it that you? I mean, I guess a good question would be: have you ever wanted to quit? I mean,
no, I would never say. A lot of people think that you get burnout. Like, I don't think burnout is a thing. A lot of people on social media think we work way too hard and we do way too many workouts and we compete too often. But no, I've never wanted to quit. I love the sport. It's what I do. And it's what I want to do for a long time. So no, I love the sport so much.
Yeah. You talked about obviously when you got with the Bassets and things like that things changed, but what was it that actually changed? Was it your mindset? Did you become that much more physical of a wrestler? Was it belief? What changed to make you kind of overcome that threshold?
Yeah, I would say definitely minds. I think wrestling is a lot of mindset, and we preach having fun. And I think when I started wrestling with them, I started to have a lot more fun. I just started enjoying the sport more, and I think that's what has carried on throughout. Obviously, getting older, and
the having fun part. It seems like that's a kind of a trend among you all, talking about wrestling and having fun. A lot of people say wrestling's not fun because it's hard, right?
Yeah.
What is it that you guys find inside of wrestling that makes it fun for you all?
I think you have to make what is hard about it fun. Like, if you're doing conditioning at the end of practice, you got to think, hey, this is fun. Like, not a lot of people get to do this. Like, there's a lot of people that would kill to be in our position, having these great partners and stuff like that. So I would say making the hard stuff fun. Just putting in your mind like, hey, this is fun. Like, I get to push myself, work really hard, and
that's finding an ability to find fun in that hard stuff is an art, because I mean wrestling is tough. Right. Would you consider you guys' workouts tough? What are your workouts like? Let me see a little bit behind the scene.
I'll take you through like a day-to-day workout. We get up at 5 a.m. before school and we go to Coach Bassett's house. There's like an hour. And then, we'll go to school, do that, and we'll have a after-school workout right here across the street that Coach Bassett runs. And then we'll have probably either weightlifting session or like a functional strength. And then we'll finish up with another like club practice. So that's like, it's like 4 in a day, but I think it's fun. It's, working hard is not for everyone, but so isn't winning. Like, so you got to put the work behind it if you want to win.
That's a very good point. And you guys have learn to win, and I think you hit the nail on the head by working hard. It's really, when you toe the line, it's there is both you guys have a check in your hand, and one's made more deposits than the other one.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
4 practices a day, there's a lot of deposits being made. So I see that being you guys' favor for sure. Outside of wrestling, I mean, what type of person are you? Do you like to game? What's your fun? I mean, or is it only wrestling?
No, I think you got to have a life outside of wrestling. We're a family here. I love hanging out with all my teammates. We like to go do stuff like after practice, and we like to game a little bit. We definitely game a little bit together. But yeah, I would just say hanging out, like if it's at a friend's house or going out to eat, or doing something like bowling. We like to hang out with each other.
Yeah. So it's still that family.
Oh yeah.
That's cool, and that's what I've gathered a lot too. Is you guys are a family. More than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think back over your wrestling career here, is there any moments that stand out as like those that is your your highlight, like your highlight of your career so far?
Yeah, I would say what a big confidence booster was. I was always a okay elementary school, middle school wrestler, but when I was in 8th grade going into my freshman year, I wrestled at the US Open. And, I didn't really expect anything going into it. I was just there to have fun, and, it was a pretty big stage at the time for me. And I just kept winning and winning. And then I ended up making the finals, and I won in that. And I was saying to myself, man, if I can win here, there's no reason I can, can't go to other tournaments and win also. So yeah, I would say that was a big confidence booster, and I would say like a pinpoint in my career.
Yeah. And I know winning, it does do something for your confidence, and having people believe in the fact that you can win, that does something for you. And it seems like that's the culture here. People believe in you. You go out and you win tournaments, and then you believe in yourself. Does that seem like kind of the game plan?
Yeah, I mean, you look around at like the guys in your room, and you see like Jax like making the Olympic trials, and like Bo going overseas and getting a bronze medal at the U20 Worlds. I mean, if my teammates are doing that, there's no reason I can't do that, because I'm doing the exact same workouts they are, working as hard as them. There's no reason I can't do that as well. So that gives you confidence that if your teammates, they're accomplishing these huge goals as high schoolers, there's no reason that all of us can't do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, Jordan Burroughs sat in that chair and told us that one of his things was when his teammate at Nebraska that he practiced with every day, that he was doing the same stuff he was doing, and he's like came out of nowhere and won a national championship, and he was like, oh, we can do that. And he was like, they bought into belief and bought into the system, and from that point forward, the rest is history. JB becomes JB.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Going off of the high, the greatest thing, what would you say when you look back over your losses? What have the losses taught you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you never want to take a loss, but they help you learn a lot. I think you learn more losing than you do winning.
Oh yeah.
It just has that like burn, like you never want to feel that again, and it makes you work harder. But I think sometimes people get caught up in like if they lose, like they'll work hard for a week and they'll lose that burn. Like they'll go to another tournament and win, and they'll be like that. They'll lose that burn. But I think if you keep that burn in you, that you never want to feel that again, I think that's when you start to get really good.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think that is very true. A lot of people have a very short memory of their loss, and sometimes that could be good. Put that one behind you, move on. But it also should motivate you forever, right? Definitely, I think that's a good thought. Now, you guys have haters, but so does every great team. How do you deal with criticism personally?
Yeah, I mean, I think if people are taking the time to write bad stuff about you on social media, I think they're jealous of you. And Coach Bash just says, just ignore it. I mean, block them, whatever. Do that. I mean, that's probably the easiest thing to do. But I think you can go another way and let that fuel you a little bit. But yeah, I personally just move on. Yeah. This
group is obviously a big testament to this next question. But how important is mentors to you?
Yeah, I mean, mentoring kind of helped me a little bit in my college decision. Like we wrestled at Young Guns, and a lot of those guys wrestled at Iowa, like Spencer Lee, Max Murin, Michael Kemmer.
Hammers.
Yeah, and just growing up around them, made me kind of fall in love with Iowa. And obviously Coach Jody Sherman, I wrestled at Iowa too. And just seeing, when we were little, we would always go to camps at his house, and he would show us videos of him wrestling at Iowa. And that I would say that definitely played a factor in my commitment of going to Iowa, is just seeing all those guys that I grew up with, reach high goals there. And yeah.
So now that we, kind of opened up that box of the Iowa commit, and you kind of told me going to the club, stuff like that kind of solidified it. But the recruitment process and things like that, and you still got another year of high school wrestling.
Yeah.
Why commit this early, and why Iowa?
Yeah. So early on in my commitment, or early on in the recruiting process, excuse me. It obviously started June 15th, and I didn't really know if I was going to get many calls. Like, obviously I knew how good I was, and all my teammates did, my parents, my coaches, but I didn't really know if coaches across the country knew. And I got 40 calls day one.
Wow.
And it was super overwhelming. And, obviously going throughout the summer, you can't set up visits till August. So I set up quite a lot of visits. I had 4 before my Iowa visit, and I had 6 more after.
Wow.
So it just kind of got overwhelming. And going into my Iowa visit, I knew that's the place I wanted to be. Out of all the visits I took, I think that I could reach the highest goals there, because I don't know, wrestling in the Big Ten, that's obviously the pinnacle of wrestling. And then wrestling in an arena like Carver Hawkeye, like, it's electric. And they took us down there on our visit, and I just imagined myself there, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to wrap up my recruiting process. And yeah, I committed that weekend, so that was pretty cool.
Wow. So yeah, when you watch, because I'm in a lot of wrestling rooms and in the Big Ten rooms, and you watch these programs wrestle. They each have their own flavor and style. Do you think that you are an Iowa style wrestler?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm always, something that we emphasize, scoring a lot of points in your face, hard-nosed wrestling. I think that's what an Iowa wrestler is.
I think you summed it up pretty well there. When you went out there and you got to chat with all them, was the pretty good rapport with the coaching staff and everything?
Oh yeah, they did a great job throughout the recruiting process, just staying in touch and sending out visits and stuff like that. Yeah, I love the Brands brothers. They're some of them. They'll always have your back, and they're some of the most genuine people I've ever met. Coach Ryan Morningstar is awesome. Coach Bobby Telford, and their whole room is really awesome.
Yeah. So what is that? I mean, were they concerned when this happened? Like what?
No, I mean, you got a guy like Spencer Lee.
True.
I mean,
true.
He had a bunch of surgeries, and no, I mean, they basically said, hey, we know you can wrestle, obviously, or we wouldn't be recruiting you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they've told me throughout, this is take your time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to rush back and re-tear it or something like that. That would be, obviously terrible. And they came in not a while ago, and, they were happy to see my progress, because out there I was struggling to walk.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm starting to lift like lower body and starting to do squats and stuff like that. So yeah, they were happy with my progress, but no, they weren't too worried about it, because obviously they've seen this type of thing before.
Yeah. Yeah. How much is missing this season has affected you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really tough just to see, obviously I'm going every tournament. I'm going to support my teammates no matter what, whether I'm wrestling or not. But yeah, just seeing some of the brackets that I could have been in, I think I could have done really well. It's been tough, but that just gives me a lot of more, I guess, fuel to the fire when I come back, because I'm going to be a dog on a bone.
For sure. So what weight class were you last year?
Yeah, so this is another funny story. So obviously I'm not too tall, but we have a great lineup. Yeah. So I, obviously wanted to find my way in there. So I wrestled 172 last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the time we did not have a 189 pounder. So we would shift our lineup up, and at state duels, I wrestled every match at 189.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So right now I weigh like 150 pounds. So I would weigh in at like, I think the highest I got was like 170. I was teetering that 170 mark. But yeah, it taught me a lot of great lessons. Just wrestling those bigger guys. It was definitely a struggle, but it was fun. But yeah, wrestling my own weight again is pretty nice. But it definitely taught me a lot of lessons. And hey, wherever you guys need me, I'll go.
That's cool. What's the goal or the plan for next year, weight wise?
Wherever they need me.
Wherever they need you.
Wherever they need me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like to wrestle like a lighter weight, like maybe 145, 152, something like that. But hey, wherever they need me, I'll go. You know.
What about college? What weight class you looking at?
I think it depends on if I grow anymore or not.
Yeah.
If I was to go into college right now, I'd be a 41 or 49 pounder. But hey, I could obviously see myself growing into a 57 or 65 if I get a little bit taller.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to tell me your 3 favorite moves, neutral, top, bottom, what are they?
I'm a big underhook guy.
Okay.
You know, being short. So underhook, throw by, get to a sweep. On top, I'm a big tilt bar guy, either one. And then on bottom, Granby. I love getting in scrambles on bottom because I think it favors me a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I can see that from your build for sure. Are you tough or are you good? Or are you both?
Dang, that's a good question. I think I'm both. You know, I think that kind of goes hand in hand. If you're tough, you're gonna be good. You know.
Yeah, yeah. There's some guys that are just technically good, and they're not real tough because they break.
Yeah.
And then there's other guys that are really tough but not technically good.
Yeah.
And they sometimes lose by technique.
Yeah. If you get both,
you're an animal.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
What makes you tough?
I would say just all the hard work we put in.
Yeah.
I mean, we go through wars every day, like bloody noses, cracks in the head, stuff like that. And if you get put in hard situations in practice, you know, you're gonna be used to that in the match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you can prepare for war. In part of the, I think I see a lot of high school wrestlers struggle with is because of their lack of preparation and practice. They almost have that deer in the headlights look when they get in a match, and it feels different.
Yeah.
If you're in a war every day in practice and you're wrestling the best in the country already, you go to a meet and it's like, this guy's not Bo. This guy's not, this guy's not this guy.
Yeah, you're not going to get a feel like them.
Yeah. So that I think that helps. I mean, and then, honestly, people jump levels into college level. Every time I talk to a freshman, they come back and they go, I'm already 10 times better wrestler because you're in a room with all hammers. You guys are already in a room with all hammers, so that'll make a huge difference in your transition as well. Do you feel like your goal going to Iowa is not to be on the team? It's to compete, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to compete for a starting job right out of the gate. You know, I believe I can truly make an impact on their lineup.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, what's your family mean to you?
Family's everything. You know, I consider my team as a family.
Yeah.
You know, they're all brothers to me, and I would do anything for them. You know, my coaches, teammates, my parents. You know, my parents have sacrificed so much for me, and I feel like there's no excuse for me to give 100%. You know, whether it's in the classroom or on the mat. I think that would be, kind of dishonoring them a little bit.
Sure. Any compromise you make, you realize they've already sacrificed everything to give you this opportunity.
So much, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Outside of wrestling here, what do you like? Do you like food? Are you a food guy?
Oh yeah, we're all big food guys.
Okay. What's your favorite food? What's your go-tos?
I'm a big wing guy.
Oh, who else? There was another wing guy.
Melvin.
Yeah, Melvin.
Me and Melvin. We like when we go out to eat with each other. We get 2 different types of wings and we try them together.
Which ones do you like? He liked the what do you say? This is something lemon ranch. Garlic ranch or something like that.
Yeah, I like garlic parm. I like buffalo. Anything like that.
Oh, okay. What? Excuse me. Now, what outside of wings, do you like junk food? Like, what's the thing?
If I do splurge a little bit, it'll be on ice cream.
Okay.
I know Jack's a big ice cream
Yeah,
guy. He has an ice cream tattoo.
Does he really?
Yeah,
That's hilarious. Yeah, we were talking about. I was like, bro, like the NIL deal for you is Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, it has to be. If they're listening, they got to give them a deal.
That's what
they
I said.
Have to give them a deal.
They get the Jack's Force slide by, ice cream. Yeah, that'd be sick.
That would be.
Yeah. So ice cream, but any particular flavor?
Cookies and cream, probably.
All right,
yeah.
All right. The wrestlers, man, we have this thing I'm not I don't like crazy foods, but there's certain foods that you just dream about when you're going through it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I got some kind of rapid fire questions here.
All right.
Just quick little questions. What's one word that describes your journey to success?
Ooh. unpredictable. Yeah. There's been a lot of bumps in the road, but I wouldn't rather have it any other way, you know?
Yeah.
I just think I've had such a tough journey so far, you know, whether it be falling a little bit short of success or, you know, having an injury or something like that. But I think it's made me a lot tougher and a lot more grateful, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's good. What's one thing you do every day to fight for success?
I'd say work as hard as I can. I'm trying to outwork everyone, whether it's at school, whether it's, you know, when I get back on the mat. I would say outwork everyone, trying to outwork everyone.
That's good. And in a room like you got, in a school like you got, that's doing work.
Yeah.
That's doing work. Who inspires you to keep going?
I would say my support system. I mean, they sacrifice so much for me. Like I already said, my parents do, and my coaches are some of the hardest working people that I know. And
yeah, that's good. If you go back in time and you give yourself a word of advice, what would it be?
I would say just when, you know, I've had a lot of tough times in my career, but I would just say, like I said, I wouldn't change anything. Just stick with it and continue to love the sport because, you know, it obviously gave me a lot. And like I said, I wouldn't change anything.
That's good. That's good. Not many people can say that. You know, most people have something they want to, you know, that's good.
Yeah, I don't want to live with any regrets. You know, I think that would be silly to worry about what happened in the past. Just focus on the present. And, yeah.
What's your faith mean to you and also into wrestling?
Faith is everything. I mean, if you don't have faith, then I think your life's kind of pointless, you know. Every time I step on the mat, I'm trying to represent God in my faith, and everything I do, I try to do through Him, you know.
That's good. So if I was writing the Fighting for Success book and had the book of Owen in there, what would you want that chapter to say about you and about the road to success and how other people could obtain success?
I mean, it's going to be success, you know, obviously, like I said, it's not for everyone. You got to work extremely hard and be completely dedicated and all in on it. So I would just say that, I don't know, that I'm all in and I'm really excited for the future.
Yeah. If you were speaking to, and you got kids in here right now, but you're speaking to younger kids, how would you lead them to a path that could find success on the mat?
I think if you love it, you know, there's nothing you can't achieve. You know, if you're an extremely hard worker and you love it, those are two things. That's a recipe for success, especially at a young age.
Yeah. And you're right. And a lot of these kids, they might like it, but you gotta love it.
Yeah, I think something like as a young kid, you get too much caught up in winning. Like if you lose, like it's kind of the end of the world, but it's really not. If you love it, you can get so good so fast at a young age.
Yeah. All right, if we were giving you a ring name, a mat name, you know, it's Owen. What is it? Like I mean, you guys are the Crushers. I mean, Owen Crusher. You know, like what would be your mat name?
When I was little, Coach Bassett gave me the nickname Big O, and that's what everyone calls me. I'm not so big anymore as when I was little. Maybe last year I got pretty big, but yeah, that's been my nickname. Everyone pretty much calls me
Big O. All right.
Yeah.
So so Big O. So there was one that said what do you call himself, Javen? Some kind of like it was Iceman. Iceman was one, and then something was like the straight face killer or something like that. Yeah, or baby face killer. Somebody calls him baby face killer. Yeah, it was Melvin too. He's like, I was like, that's pretty rough, bro. That's scary.
Yeah, Melvin is the Iceman. I mean, he has had so many crazy matches this past year where it has come down to the literal final second. I wish he wouldn't do it because it gives all of us a heart attack.
That's what I hear.
But I remember at Fargo, he walked off the mat with getting a takedown with literally like 1 second left. He was like, I had it all planned out. I'm like, Melvin, no, you didn't. But hey, maybe
it works
for
him. Yeah,
it really does.
People like that give me high anxiety for sure. Yeah. Well, man, we love what you're doing, and as I have people on, and I don't know you guys other than your accolades that I read about on Flow and everything else, you know, but I like to pray about the guys that are in my seat and girls are in my seat, and just ask the Lord to give me a word or a character to speak over my guest. And as I was praying about who you are and what God would have me say to you, the word I got was that you are, excuse me, you're like Noah, right? And I was like, oh, Noah, okay, it's an interesting character. And I was like, so what is what does Owen and Noah have in common? And God said that your power and your truth is going to come from standing on his promise. That when everything else looks like it's falling apart and the world's telling you that it should be over, this, that, and the other, you have to remember what God has said. Because there's going to be times in your life, probably even in this moment, that it seems like, why? It shouldn't be happening, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of times in your life where people are going to be saying certain things. And you have to put that to the side and listen and remember what God said. Because that is the truth that you had to stand on. Nobody believed in what Noah was saying until the first drop of water hit the ground, right? You're going to be in a place, you're probably going to be in Iowa, and there's going to be moments where you're going to be like, what in the world am I doing? Everybody's saying, right, maybe I should just go home. Maybe what? And you're going to have to remember it's going to rain. And as soon as that rain comes, you're prepared. And maybe you're not the guy, or maybe you're not practicing like you want to, but there's going to be a storm. And when that storm happens, you are the man. You're going to have the plan. God's already spoke it. It's already truth. And that's the truth of your life. Anytime things seem like they're out of place, remember God's word. Stand on that in the midst of the drought because the rain's coming. Sound good?
That is freaking awesome. Yeah, I mean, he has a plan for all of us. And yeah, I mean, this is obviously unfortunate. I had my season taken away like that. And like, you just wonder, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, why does this keep happening? But yeah, I mean, there's going to come a time where it's going to be my time.
That's right.
And I'm going to take it, and I'm never going to look back.
That's right. Well, brother, we're here for it. We love it. We're going to stay involved in the story of your life and of the journey on the mat and beyond. I hope we can do this as we go, and you're out there and you're a multi-timer and I'm like, hey, yo, remember me? You gotta be like, yo, bro, yeah, come on out, and we'll pull up for sure. Yeah. But dude, thank you, man, and keep fighting for success, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was freaking awesome.
Thanks, bro. You crushed it.
Thank you.
That's it, man. That's it.
Wow. That was good stuff. I felt like I was on Joe Rogan or something.